So my name is Marci Klein. I am a pediatrician and also the mother of two founders of a product that they brought to market. And I've helped them grow through their own business and creativity. And now I love to mentor other students. I'm based in the United States, in Connecticut. So about 6 years ago, my children, who were high school students at the time, came up with an idea on recycling cardboard to create play-based play experiences for kids using cardboard, mostly because there's a lot of cardboard out there and kids are using so many toys, but why not use something that's already available, the cardboard that kids have in their house, to incorporate that into play. So they created some connectors that they 3D printed on our home 3D printer, and these printers fit any kind of recycled cardboard. So rather than kids making for a set of duct tape and glue, it gives them the ability to build complex models with little connectors and avoid having to use duct tape and glue to put their structures together. So they 3D printed connectors and they cut up random pieces of cardboard and went to our local town farmers market, and we're selling little jars, I might have them, of connectors. And they set up a table and they cut up cardboard and they let kids play. And it was a great opportunity for them to market test their product. So rather than designing a product and going to production and trying to sell it, they went local. They just got feedback from kids in the community. And what they found was a couple things. One, kids of all ages absolutely positively love playing with cardboard and making models. But what they also found was that kids that didn't know each other liked to play together. They didn't mind not knowing each other when they were playing because they were so engaged and having so much fun. And thirdly, parents were loving playing with their kids. So instead of parents putting a toy in front of their child and walking away and letting the kids play, they actually wanted to play with their children. And from a pediatrician's perspective, I thought that those were really great qualities in a product. So 5 years later, we're no longer 3D printing the connectors. We had to go through the whole process of figuring out how to manufacture and what an injection mold even is and how to get one and how to make connectors and how to package and how to market and how to make a website. So there was a lot to building a company other than just making a product. And over the last 6 years, we've been learning, and we're still, of course, learning. And now that our kids are young adults, they're still engaged in doing their roles, selling product and making new products and, updating our website and reaching new markets, from teachers to families at home to whole school community. And what I do is create lessons and activities to let kids, instead of just playing with the product, learn important life skills, from math, learning geometry and engineering, to creating projects, solving real world problems, researching a problem in their community, and then designing a model of their solution. So that's kind of what we've been doing for the last few years. And we went from selling 30 or 60 connectors at a time at the local farmers market to selling product all around the world, to almost every continent, and selling to classrooms also around the world. So it's been quite an experience going from an idea to prototyping, market testing, and building a company, and then expanding and growing. So I've been excited to take the journey with my kids through the process.
Hey, Marci, would you mind sharing from your website a couple of the cool looking builds that kids have done there?
Sure. Hang on one second. Let me see. Let me get onto my website first. So let's see if I can screen share.
I think it's interesting to try to think about what it is until you actually look at some of the builds out there and realize that what you can do with this.
Yeah, so this is the front page of our website. Julie, are you able to see that?
Yep.
And we are constantly changing our website based on, our experiences and feedback from teachers. But I can share with you probably the best place to see student projects would be, hold on one second. This is all of our lesson plans, builds. Sorry, hold on one second. Let me get to the right page here. Learning, see student projects. So we have a whole page dedicated. This entire globe is projects that students have done with our product from around the world. So a lot of them are based in the United States, but we do have projects around the world. So I'm just going to click on one project to share an example. Let's see. This was a project done in Thailand. And through model making with our projects, you can see students can create models like this model on the right over here of things from their community. So in this particular case, the students in Thailand wanted to share what their homes look like in their community, and how they're depicted, or how homes in their community are different based on the needs. So here's one example of a house that the students built that represents their home in Thailand. Whereas if we go, let's see, to another part of the world over here, we can see, here's a community built in St. Louis, Missouri. And if we skip ahead a little bit, here are some of the projects that the students were doing, designing, and whoops, here we go. Here's another example of what the students would build, miniature models of little communities using cardboard. And the value is that they can build these models really quickly, easily, without using duct tape or glue, but they can also dismantle them, redesign them, and build over and over again. So here's just one other example of what students have built, using our materials. And then lastly, let's see if we can find another project out here. Let's see. Here's a great example. So these students were exploring engineering design with bridges, and they did some research, and then they built a little model of their community using, again, the cardboard and connectors. And somewhere in here, they did a lot of research, and then they came up with a variety of different bridge designs based on the engineering learning. So they're having fun and they're playing, but they're actually learning a lot of engineering concepts and physics through model making with our projects. So I'll stop sharing for a moment, but would anybody have ideas of what they would build with cardboard if they had the ability to?
I'm waiting for you to come up with life-size connectors to go with all the houses that Max has built around here, all the cardboard houses, because they would stay together much better probably with your big connectors instead. But how come you're not selling big connectors?
Well, big connectors, number one, I mean, yes, they would be great for the end user, but if you think about it through a business and marketing perspective, there's a lot more to it than just the product. So the cost of making a connector is exponentially higher if you make a large enough connector to fit life-size models.
True, and that's a lot more plastic, so I suppose
a lot more plastic, and it's also packaging and selling. So if you're going to, so imagine 10 giant connectors, which cannot make very much at all. We sell like 60 connectors in a jar, but if this jar was giant connectors, it would be the size of a person. Shipping that would cost $100 in the United States to ship. Putting it on a store would cost a lot of money too. So our specific connectors in that way would probably not be something that people would even buy, because the cost would be more than the value of it. So that's just one idea, as to like, when you think of a great idea, it's great, but you have to actually think through, like, in your head, every single step and like all the ramifications. So like, for example, Aaliyah, when you're designing your game, like, you could build a ginormous game that looks fun and exciting, but how much is that going to cost to make? And then when the store buys it from you, how much room is it going to take in the store? Because stores make their money by selling a lot of product. So if yours takes up half the store, then stores may not want to buy it to resell it. So that's just like one idea of like, when you think through it, like you have to kind of take every angle. And even if there's something that would be an awesome thing to do, if it doesn't make sense from a manufacturing perspective or a business perspective, you know, it might be a great idea, but if nobody buys it, you know.
How about doing it just for demonstration purposes at big conferences and stuff like that? So it's just yours. You go and you have people on teams setting it up. I want to be on that team.
Great, but what if they want it then? Then we have to say,
well.
no, that's not what we sell. Sometimes we've done events and we put a robot in our, you know, we actually, our kits have electricity. They have motors. Like you can do a lot with the products besides just, you know, just model making. But what we don't include is robots. But if we put a robot in our display, people want to buy the robot. So we try not to like put things in there that people can actually buy, but you can actually use our connectors to make life-size models with bigger cardboard. They fit all pieces of cardboard, so you can actually use them and make forts. Kids have done that.
Interesting.
It's just that you need a little bit more fine motor skill because you'll need 3 connectors rather than 2 typically. But
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, but if you have that idea, you're more than welcome to move forward with it, Julie. We'll be supporting you along the way.
That's okay.
Yeah. And all the other side of it is you have a good idea and you haven't reached the full market potential. You know, how many new products do you want when you already have gone through the pain and suffering of making one product? You know, having a million ideas is great, but you have to at some point focus on one. Otherwise, like you can't do everything at all, like all the time. You have to kind of stay focused. So if you guys have a great idea, even if you have 100 great ideas, try to focus on 1 or 2 and stick with those, because at one moment in time, there's only so much a person can do. So if you are passionate about an idea, put everything that you have into that idea to bring it to market and make it successful. If you have a million ideas and you're going a million different directions, you might not wind up getting any one forward. So staying focused, you know, keeping your mind open to new and great ideas is awesome, but staying focused is also really important too.